What if the person calling you, saying they love you, is actually planning to kill you? He knows exactly where you are every second of the day. He knows what you're wearing right now. And one day, he promises he's going to cut you into pieces so no one will ever find you. This is the story of Dorothy Jane Scott, a 32-year-old single mom from California. It's about a stalker who terrorized her for months, murdered her, and then spent the next 4 years calling her parents just to torture them. Today, we're breaking down the one case where the killer himself kept reaching out to the victim's family, and he was never caught. Dorothy Scott was 32 years old. She was a single mother raising her 4-year-old son, Sean. They lived in her aunt's house in Canton, California. Dorothy worked as a secretary at Swinger's Psych Shop in Anaheim. She spent most of her time in the back office, away from the bright tie-dye shirts and merchandise. Her co-workers described her as kind-hearted and compassionate. She was deeply religious, rarely dated, and devoted almost all her time to work and her son. While she was at work, Sean stayed with her parents, Jacob and Vera. Dorothy lived a very quiet, routine life. Friends later said she was as boring as a phone book. That's exactly why what started happening to her in 1980 felt so terrifying. It all began a few months before she vanished. Dorothy started getting strange calls at work. An unknown man would call and say he loved her, but then threatened to kill her. The voice sounded familiar to her, but she couldn't place it. One day he told her, "Go outside, I left something for you." On her windshield was a single dead rose. Another time, he described exactly what she was wearing that day. He threatened that one day he would catch her alone and cut her up into bits so no one will ever find her. Dorothy became terrified. She thought about buying a gun, but changed her mind. She was afraid her 4-year-old might accidentally hurt himself. Just a week before she disappeared, she even started taking karate classes. May 28, 1980, seemed like an ordinary day. Dorothy dropped Sean off with her parents and went to work. That evening at 9 p.m., they had a staff meeting. During the meeting, her co-worker, Conrad Bostron, suddenly felt sick. A red swelling appeared on his arm. It turned out he had been bitten by a black widow spider. Dorothy and another co-worker, Pam Head, drove Conrad to the hospital. On the way, Dorothy stopped at her parents' house, changed her black scarf for a red one, and continued to the hospital. In the waiting room, she told her colleagues she would go pull the car around. They waited. Suddenly, they saw her white 1973 Toyota station wagon speeding toward them. The headlights blinded them. They couldn't see who was driving. The car flew past, made a sharp turn, and disappeared. That was the last time anyone saw Dorothy Scott alive. A few hours later, police found Dorothy's car. It was burning in an alley about 10 miles from the hospital. Dorothy was nowhere to be found, and neither was anyone else. Her family and co-workers immediately reported her missing. The next 4 years would become a living nightmare for everyone who loved her. And this is exactly where the case gets really strange. About a week after she disappeared, Dorothy's mother Vera received a phone call from that same voice. "Are you related to Dorothy Scott?" he asked. "Yes," Vera answered. "I've got her," the man said, and hung up. The calls continued for almost 4 years. Almost every Wednesday, the unknown caller would phone Dorothy's parents. Sometimes he would say, "I killed her. I tortured her." Sometimes just, "She's with me." He knew details that had never been released to the public. After Jacob told the story to the Orange County Register, the killer called the editor, Pat Riley, and said, "I killed Dorothy Scott. She was my love. I caught her with another man." He accurately described the red scarf and that she had been at the hospital with a friend who was being treated for a black widow bite. Police set up a trace, but the caller never stayed on the line long enough to be tracked. More than 4 years later, on August 6, 1984, a construction worker found charred human and dog bones about 10 meters off Santa Ana Canyon Road. Dental records confirmed the remains were Dorothy Scott's. The cause of death could not be determined. The main suspect in many people's minds was a man named Mike Butler. He worked at the same shop as Dorothy. His sister also worked there. According to Dorothy's son Sean, Mike was obsessed with his mother. He lived in the mountains nearby, had a reputation for being unstable, and there were rumors he was involved with some kind of cult. Sean is convinced Butler is the killer. Whenever the stalker called, he always waited for Dorothy's mother to answer. But one time, Jacob picked up, and the calls suddenly stopped. Sean believes Butler was afraid Dorothy's father would recognize his voice. Another theory pointed to the father of her son, but he had a solid alibi and was quickly ruled out. Police also looked at the possibility that Dorothy was the victim of a serial offender. 2 years later, in July 1982, Patricia Schneider disappeared. Her car was also found burned, but her family never received any calls. All of these theories exist, but none of them ever produced solid evidence. No one was ever officially named a suspect. No arrests were ever made. Dorothy Scott disappeared on May 28, 1980. Her parents, Jacob and Vera, both passed away without ever learning who killed their daughter. Her son Sean is still living with this. He still believes he knows exactly who did it. And somewhere out there is the man who once called and said, "I loved her. I killed her." A man who has never been found. Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones where the answer never comes, even after all these decades.